One driver left his championship-winning team after one bad year.
This level of racing will be destroyed and won't exist anymore.
Another got into a fight with his coach and was kicked from the sport.
He was super pissed and told him to F off.
These are F1 drivers that ruined their careers. And first, we gotta talk about Nelson Piquet Jr. You see, his father, the legendary Nelson Piquet, had big plans for his son. I mean, he literally mentored him from the very beginning. From karting at just 8 years old to joining Formula 3 in 2001, Piquet Jr. was on track to be the next big F1 star out of Brazil. But eventually, Piquet Jr. had to separate himself from his father, leaving Brazil to compete in the British F3 series, which he won in 2004 at just 19 years old. And by the time he got to the GP2 series, he was skilled enough to hold his own against the likes of Lewis Hamilton and Timo Glock, managing a second place finish in the Drivers' Championship. But when it was time to prove himself in the big leagues with Team Renault, Piquet Jr.'s performance was not that impressive. While he had a few podium placements, it was ultimately a very disappointing season, as Piquet Jr. finished 12th in the 2008 Drivers' Championship, while his teammate Fernando Alonso managed a respectable 5th. And rumours started circulating that Piquet was on his way out at Renault. After all, one of his defining moments that year came when he made the seemingly impossible crash into the wall in Singapore.
It is not open until the safety car tells it it's okay to. That's what happened with Piquet anyway.
See, although Piquet Jr. was retired from the race, his crash inadvertently helped Alonso secure the victory. And at the time, only a few people suspected the crash was anything but a simple error from Piquet. I mean, this is the same dude who crashed out in Monaco and ran off the track in Canada. But shockingly, Piquet kept his seat heading into the following season, where he somehow managed to perform even worse, getting dropped by Renault after just 10 races. And with his former team dropping him, he decided it was time to come clean. See, Piquet secretly contacted the FIA, alleging that his infamous crash in Singapore was done on purpose, as he was simply following team orders in order to fix the race in favour of Alonso. So the FIA went public with this info and launched an all-out investigation, which ended with Team Renault getting suspended from Formula 1 for 2 years. Now, I get snitching on your old team for doing shady stuff, especially if they drop you in the middle of the season. But this scandal, which was named Crashgate due to its negative impact on the sport, was simply too much for Piquet to overcome.
In the position I was, not having anybody around me, not having a manager looking for my own best interest, nothing like that. It was very hard to escape from taking a decision like that.
He never found his way back to Formula 1, and I don't know about you, but settling for racing in NASCAR or Formula E just ain't it when you're the son of a 3-time world champion. But while Piquet's career was killed before he even had a chance to redeem himself, this next racer's downfall is honestly so much more tragic, because he saw some major success before throwing it all away. I'm talking about Jacques Villeneuve, who entered Formula 1 directly after winning the IndyCar World Series in 1995. And most people wouldn't expect an IndyCar racer to perform well in F1, but Villeneuve was just built different. His first season in F1 saw him win 4 Grand Prix and rack up a whopping 78 points, putting him just shy of the Drivers' Championship, which was won by his Williams teammate Damon Hill. Now you gotta admit that's impressive. I mean, not even Max Verstappen had such a strong debut season. But the following year is when Villeneuve really stepped it up, winning 7 Grand Prix and holding his own against Michael Schumacher the entire year, taking it to perhaps one of the craziest final races of any F1 season.
And it's go! Villeneuve gets away and Schumacher gets away better!
Villeneuve is all over him, look, he's going through! Oh yes! I don't think...
Out goes Michael Schumacher!
That didn't work, Michael, you hit the wrong part of him, my friend.
Now, beating one of the all-time GOATs like that to win your first championship, bro, Villeneuve was on top of the world. But the following season, he couldn't recreate the dominance he once had, ending in 5th place as the defending champ, which isn't the best, but still respectable. However, Villeneuve made a controversial decision to join BAR heading into the next year, and this proved to be the most boneheaded move, because dude placed 21st that year and failed to score a single point. The rest of his career? never saw him come close to the heights he reached early on. He got passed around from team to team and had only 2 podium placements across 7 years. And listen, hindsight is 2020, and you can't completely fault a driver for transferring to a bad team. But Villeneuve's arrogant attitude and controversial comments, which were made way past his prime, is what really hurt his overall reputation. Like when he told Juan Pablo Montoya that he would put him in an effing tree after he brake checked him. Or when he said Kimi Raikkonen didn't deserve his championship title and only won it by getting lucky. And most recently, Villeneuve said it would be cheaper for McLaren to continue paying Ricciardo's salary, let him sit on the couch at home and put another driver in the car. Come on man, you can't roast my boy Daniel Ricciardo like that, even if he was underperforming. In hindsight, Villeneuve peaked way too early, and the way he talks about drivers that came after him, you gotta wonder what kind of legacy and reputation is he wanting to leave behind. But not every controversial driver ruins their reputation after they retire. Some manage to do it while they're still competing. I'm talking about American driver Scott Speed, of course, who was part of the first ever Toro Rosso lineup alongside Tonio Liuzzi. And being a feeder team to Red Bull Racing filled with rookies, it's not like many people expected them to be a strong team. During the 2006 Australian Grand Prix, Speed looked like he was finally going to score some points for Toro Rosso. But after the FIA ruled that he made an illegal overtake under yellow flags and added a 25-second penalty, he dropped to 9th place with Red Bull driver David Coulthard securing 8th. And let's just say Speed didn't take that so well, reportedly telling Coulthard to F off during the steward hearing, resulting in a $5,000 fine. But that was just the start of his problematic personality, which would get him into a lot more trouble with his team later on.
I'm just saying, when I come off the track and we start going over the data and I find out that Tonio's engine's 5 degrees cooler than mine again, someone's head's gonna roll.
Damn, that seems a little harsh, no? Anyways, the following season looked even worse for Speed, as he failed to get anywhere near a podium placement, with constant crashes and poor reliability undermining his performance. And after a spin out on the wet track at the 2007 European Grand Prix, Speed got into a conflict with his team principal Franz Tost. Now, it's debatable if this fight ever got physical, but it was more than enough to damage the relationship between Speed and his team. And to make matters worse, he started publicly bad-mouthing them, claiming that Franz wanted both him and Liuzzi off the team.
Obviously, the relationship I had with Gerhardt and Franz wasn't the best one. They obviously felt like Tonio and I weren't doing a good enough job.
The media went crazy with this story, fueling the flames as Speed went on record saying, "You couldn't pay me enough money to race for those two people again." And surely enough, Speed was replaced by up-and-comer Sebastian Vettel before the following Grand Prix. Although he expressed interest in remaining in the sport, his lack of results and controversial fallout with his team meant that he would never find himself on a Formula One team again. But Speed's downfall doesn't even come close to this next racer, because Emerson Fittipaldi was a true champion of his era, but one bad decision changed the trajectory of his career forever. You see, Fittipaldi became Team Lotus's #1 driver in only his 5th race in F1, and the young rookie didn't disappoint. His first full year with the team saw him finish in a very respectable 6th place, but the following season is where his brilliance truly shined. Armed with a very technically impressive Lotus 72D, Emerson won 5 out of 12 Grand Prix, becoming the youngest, at the time at least, F1 champion at just 25 years old. And he continued his dominance in 1973 as well, winning 3 out of the first 4 races, making it look like he was going to win the championship back-to-back. That was until Lotus swapped out his vehicle for a new and improved model midway through the season, which resulted in multiple retirements, ultimately ending the season in 2nd place. But not looking to have his team hold him back with underperforming cars, Fittipaldi joined the promising team McLaren, winning 3 GPs and ultimately his 2nd Drivers' Championship. I gotta hand it to him, he probably would have won a 3rd if it hadn't been for Niki Lauda's insanely dominant performance in the 1975 season. But shockingly, at the absolute height of his career, Fittipaldi left McLaren to join his older brother's Formula One constructor, which let's just say was not the best choice. You see, although he was now racing for his own family's team, the cars they developed together were simply not competitive. Across the next 5 seasons, Emerson's best results included a 2nd place finish at the 1978 Brazilian GP, which helped him secure, check notes, a 10th place Drivers' Championship finish and a constructor placement of 7th, which I guess isn't bad, but when you compare it to his earlier years, it's definitely disappointing. Now, after retiring from Formula 1 in 1980, Fittipaldi stayed on as a manager for his brother's team for 2 more years, which ultimately proved to be a horrible decision, as Emerson later revealed that he neglected his marriage and personal life trying to save the struggling organisation. And you want to know something crazy? This wasn't the only time a driver created a team to compete in F1, only to have it backfire spectacularly and ruin another driver's career. You see, formed in 2005 by former F1 driver Aguri Suzuki, his brand new team, Super Aguri, wanted to feature an all-Japanese driver lineup. So they signed 31-year-old rookie Yuji Ide, who had previously seen some success in Formula Nippon, coming in second in the 2005 Drivers' Championship. But from the moment he entered the sport, he struggled badly. I mean, he wasn't even able to compete either of his first 2 races. But the safety of his seat came into question during his 3rd race in Australia, where he finally managed to finish in 13th.
Not bad, not bad.
But the highlight of his weekend was blocking Rubens Barrichello during his qualifying lap, forcing him into a 16th place start and embarrassing his team principal Suzuki, who warned him that his seat wasn't safe if he continued to perform so poorly. And to top it all off, Ide caused a first lap crash during his next race in Imola.
Very nasty smash for Christian Albers. It was Yuji Ide.
Which was the last straw, as stewards and fans alike wondered, the hell was he doing? Shortly after, Super Aguri was forced to demote him, and the FIA decided that Ide was so bad they revoked his FIA Super license and told him to get his act together. But he never made it back to Formula 1, as he went back to Formula Nippon and continued to race in the Super GT circuit, which was probably for the best. While his time in the sport was short, I mean literally only 4 races, where he retired in 3 of them, his career was one of the few that never should have happened in the first place, just like a certain someone else. But Ide wasn't the only F1 driver known for retiring a lot, because I gotta tell about one last driver who had serious potential to be a star, but found himself going down in F1 history for all the wrong reasons. You see, Pastor Maldonado came into the sport after winning the GP2 series in 2010, so when he was signed on to race with Williams the following year, people expected the young rookie to shine. Racing alongside seasoned veteran Rubens Barrichello, Maldonado unfortunately scored just a single point in his rookie season. But considering it was his first year in the big leagues, and his car wasn't exactly the most competitive, F1 fans weren't ready to write him off just yet. And the following year, Maldonado showed real promise, until he didn't. In the season opener, he was running rather impressively, until he took a shunt into the wall.
Was a hefty whack into the concrete from Pastor Maldonado. He'll feel that tomorrow when he wakes up.
The very next race, another retirement while running in the points. But after finally scoring in China, only to retire in Bahrain, Maldonado would finally have his golden moment in Spain. After qualifying first due to Lewis Hamilton not having sufficient fuel, Maldonado finally had the opportunity to prove he could hang with the best of the best. Even after losing the lead at the start, he would stay the course and regained the lead after Fernando Alonso was slowed down on the track.
You can see the Williams powering down the main straight. Alonso can only do 100 kilometers an hour. Pastor Maldonado, who just set the fastest lap of the race.
And Maldonado never gave it back, holding Alonso off to win his first Grand Prix. Not only was this the first time in history a driver from Venezuela topped the podium, it's also the last time any driver from the Williams team would win a Grand Prix. But Maldonado's success was quickly overshadowed by his ultra-aggressive driving style. You see, the rest of the year was plagued with reckless driving and unfortunate crashes by Maldonado.
Together, Hamilton forces Maldonado off the track. Oh, and they do touch, and Hamilton goes off into the barriers. Maldonado squeezes through, and Hamilton's race is over.
He still managed to hold on to his Williams seat in 2013, although his car was still expected to be at the back of the grid. But it didn't really matter how good or bad your car was, if you struggled to keep on the track in the first place. Maldonado's limit testing rarely paid off, as he found himself crashing out much more than Williams would have wanted. And after a major crash at Monaco, Williams made it clear that they were over his shenanigans. But Maldonado wasn't done yet, signing to Lotus Renault to race alongside Romain Grosjean, but the collisions continued.
You have to ask, what was he looking at as he came down the inside?
To be frank, let's see what they do with Maldonado. Clearly isn't Gutierrez's fault.
He just couldn't escape them and earned the embarrassing nickname of Crash Door Maldonado. But that's just how he raced. In an interview, he said that he has always had the big balls to cross the line every time. But was that worth the reputation and nicknames that were being built up? For Lotus, it was not, as they dropped him prior to the 2016 season. When it was all said and done, Maldonado's legacy is quite unique. He was known for his incredible speed and aggressive driving style, but ultimately can never compensate for his crash tour persona on the grid. And if you want to learn more about the stories behind some of your favourite drivers' nicknames, like Alain Prost and Kimi Raikkonen, check out this video here.